So, for our second interaction, Manuel and I decided on baking things kind of specific to our own culture. And so I decided that I was going to show him how to bake mini apple pies. And so before we started, we went to Walmart and we got all the ingredients and like any like baking supplies that we needed. And that was pretty interesting in itself. And we came back to Smith and like baked the pies. And I was really nervous about this. One, I don't really, when I bake, it's usually by myself. And I was just really nervous that he wasn't going to enjoy himself throughout like the couple of hours that we were going to be spending together. Just because, some people don't like to bake. And that was my greatest fear, that he wasn't going to have fun when we were doing this. And that was quite the opposite. I found out. There were many times where he was just like laughing at what we were doing. For instance, we were like kneading the dough, kind of like rolling it out, and so I started and I passed the pin over to him, and he started doing it, and all of a sudden he just like started cracking up and laughing, and I was looking at him and like asking him why, and he's like, "This is just so funny." And it was just like little things like that throughout. Like in the beginning, he was like kneading the dough, kind of mixing all the ingredients with his hands, and he was just laughing at that. And it looked like he was having a pretty good time, and it looked like he was laughing at the apple pies, but he was just really responsive and just really smiling, giggly, and was really helpful throughout the entire process. So I feel like he really enjoyed it all. Um, so I kind of adjusted my behavior. So in the beginning, I was like a little bit, like kind of reserved, like, "Hey, we're gonna be doing this." And then, like, as I saw that he was more comfortable with me, I kind of got a little more comfortable with him, and I started joking around a little more. So like when we started like doing like mixing all the ingredients, it was just like I would just joke with him, and it was just really funny because I usually it takes me a while to get comfortable with people and like joke around like that. But for him, it was really easy, and I guess that was because I knew that he was, comfortable and he was enjoying himself. I could see his laughter, even if it was probably laughter at me. Um, but I kind of switched my thought from, "Oh, he's not going to enjoy this," to, "Hey, he is enjoying this. This is a good time." And I had laughed more than I had laughed in the past couple of weeks, so it was fantastic for both of us. So when we were at Walmart, there was we were walking through like the fruits and vegetable aisle to grab some apples, and we were looking at the potatoes, and he stopped. He asked me like what type of potatoes, like the particular potato he picked up were, and I was like, "They're sweet potatoes." He's like, "Oh," and he looked around and showed me a bag of like kind of yellow, like light yellow potatoes. He was like, "These are the only potatoes that we have back home." And I looked at him and I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah." He was like, "So you don't have like any other potatoes?" And he was like, "No." And that was just pretty interesting. I'm so used to having this wide variety of produce and wide variety of products available to me that I don't really think like maybe it's not like this in other countries. And so that was like a small little insight. It was like little things like that. Um, so yeah, the potatoes definitely kind of threw me for a loop. I'm so used to what I have here that I don't really know anything in other cultures, which I would really love to, because then I would be able to connect with people a lot more. Um, so yeah, I guess other things about that. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. It was a lot of fun. um, yeah, um, he said that he had never baked a pie before, and he was just like, "I don't know how to bake that." And so I was like, "Today you were going to learn." But overall, it was a wonderful experience. I felt like both of us got something out of it, and I learned a little bit about him too. We also went a little clothes shopping when we were at Walmart. We like bought a shirt, and he was like asking me for advice. And one of the things was like I never really try things on with like people, because he was like looking at it and asking for my opinion. And I think that particular instance was when I knew that he was comfortable around me. When he was like asking me for advice, he was like, "Usually I don't ask people for advice, and usually I don't do this. I don't know why I'm doing it with you." So don't know if that's like a little milestone in our relationship or whatnot. But he's a wonderful person, and just like little things kind of give me little insights to the culture. I think what affected me the most was the potatoes. It just, I don't know, you don't think about things like that, and I really need to, especially if I want to go abroad and do all these things. So, overall it was a great experience, and I felt like I learned something pretty great about it. So I'm really excited about what he has in store for our next interaction. So I guess we'll see what happens then.